Cultivation theory. It is the repeated and intense exposure to distinctive, defiant definitions of, quote, reality, end quote, and television and other mass media messages led to the perception of that, quote, reality as normal. The result is a social legitimization of the, quote, reality, end quote, depicted in the mass media, which can affect behavior. So in other words, the cultivation theory theorizes that people's behavior are directly affected by what they see on TV. So to start, I'm going to give you a brief history of the cultivation. It was developed by George Gerbner and was a large-scale research project in which the cultivation theory was only one of 3 social indicators. Cultivation theory wasn't developed to study specific effects. Like when kids watch Superman, it wasn't designed to see how many kids jumped off a building and tried to fly. It was to see the impact on the way people see the world in which we live. So like I said earlier, the cultivation theory is one of 3. Part 1. The institutional process analysis. This investigates how the flow of media messages are produced and managed, how decisions are made, and how media organizations function. Pretty much, this part deals with what influences the production of mass media content. It has to do with like the pressures, the constraints, as well as the processes that go through with media. Part 2. Message system analysis. This is used to track the most stable and recurrent images in the media content. This is why media produce the messages that they do. For this part, Germer mentions sex and violence. It's easy and cheap to produce, and it gets a great reaction from its viewers. So, company TV shows adopt certain policies so they can take on this new content and produce these things that weren't as accepted before. Also, when more sex and violence are in more shows, people get desensitized to the fact of having these on TV. So now you see shows like Jersey Shores where people are hooking up and drinking and doing their thing, and it's no big deal because it's all over the television. Where in violence, it's okay to just beat up whoever. Whereas like 20 years ago, one of my teachers was talking about his best friend was a show producer, and he had to take a show off the local television station because people were upset because it showed someone's butt. But now it's okay to see whole like sex scenes or see someone get brutally murdered and gashed and gored, and people just don't care anymore. Like the first Rambo killed 1 person, and now the last one killed like 200 and something people. And it's just dramatic and intense. Like kids' cartoons now can be violent and ridiculous, but it's not a big deal because people don't care anymore. Third, last but not least, in my theory, known as the cultivation theory, also known as cultivation analysis, in which Gerbner proposed that TV affects viewers and shows their belief on, quote, reality, end quote, by mainstreaming. Mainstreaming is also known as the blurring, blending, and bending processes by which TV viewers from different groups develop a common outlook on the world throughout constant exposure to the same images and labels on TV. For example, like politics and economics, everyone knows that certain news stations lean more left-wing, right-wing, etc. Gerbner definitely believed that violence was the main structure of drama on TV, and also proposed that people got more or less the more or less TV they watched. So that the more they were exposed to it, the more violence was influenced by their day-to-day life. And he also tried to make the cultivation differential, which would say before TV exposure and after TV exposure, but when doing this, he realized that there is no before TV exposure because you're exposed to TV at infancy. And this made me think of my niece and nephew because they literally watch TV to fall asleep every night, and they have since they were little kids because that's what my brother and his wife do. And so that's how they are kids, and my niece wakes up every morning and has to watch TV just to wake herself up. It's crazy. Based on this, Gerbner believed there were 3 effects of violence in TV. 1. People had a fear of criminal victimization. So people that watched light viewing of these violent shows or CSI, 348, they believed they had a 1 in 100 chance of being victimized. People that had a heavy had a view of 1 in 10, but in the actual statistics showed that your chances are 1 in 10,000. 2. A perceived activity of the police. And 3. A general mistrust of people. People become more suspicious of other people's motives, thinking that they're all guilty, or everybody's creepy or rapist or gonna hurt you in some way, which is a direct effect, and he theorized the mean world syndrome. So to help kind of explain the cultivation theory in my way, I decided that I'd make a little skit or video to kind of help I guess, see how TV affects, I did a how violence, like a scary movie, affects people after they watch it for a little while. And then I also did a, not necessarily violent, but like sex, like Jersey Shores. Keeping it in mind, it's a little lame, but it's, I guess, funny. And I'm not a very good videoer, so I hope you enjoy it. Oh my goodness, that was so fun. You think we can hang out again?
Actually, I think it's time to call you a cab, if that's alright.
Oh. I mean, it's like...
No, it's time to go.
Oh, okay. Well, see you later. Oh my god, I'm so drunk. I'm never drinking again. Well, but maybe tomorrow. GTL?